Hello, good morning. It is like 7:10 a.m. That's 10 minutes past 7 a.m. October 2nd, 2024. I want us to discuss something this morning, and it is the deprived child syndrome. I want to talk about the deprived child syndrome and how it affects us in adulthood and affects us as a nation in our governance systems in third world nations. So let's first of all do a Google search. If you go to Google, you type in deprived child, it will give you the meaning. It says deprived child is a young person who is not getting the care and support that they need to be healthy and happy. This can happen if they don't have parents or guardians to take care of them, if they have been abandoned, or if they have been placed in care, that is like an orphanage or a children's home illegally. Now let's add something to our search. This is what we have for the deprived child. Let's try and add the another word, syndrome. Let's add the word syndrome. Syndrome. O M E. And let's do the search for deprived child syndrome. So here we have it. Why does early childhood deprivation increase the risk of dada dash? Most notably, children exposed to more than 6 months deprivation displayed elevated levels of attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. Then there are other options. What is the deprived child syndrome? Let's click on it and see what it will give us. What is the deprived child syndrome? Let's click on it. Okay, we have it here. What is the deprived childhood syndrome? So, and this is what we have. Partial deprivation could result in acute anxiety, it could result in depression, it could give rise to neediness and powerful emotions which the child could not regulate. The end product of such psychic disturbance could be neurosis and instability of character. Now, if we look at the other options, there is what is an example of a deprived child? What does it mean to be deprived of a child or something like that? What happens when a child is deprived of love? Let's click on that and see what it will give us. On the other hand, children who do not have affectionate parents tend to have lower self-esteem and to feel more alienated. They become hostile, aggressive, and antisocial. There have been a number of recent studies that highlight the relationship between parental affection and children's happiness and success, and so much information that you can find on Google. So let me switch off this AC so that I can have a better voice quality. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that the deprived child syndrome affects us a lot in Africa. And this is because of the overwhelming level of poverty in African societies, especially countries like Nigeria. Almost like 70 to 80% of homes and families live their life in poverty. A lot of our population, live in ghettos, in cramped up areas that are overpopulated. You don't have proper road system, drainage system, the hygiene, the environmental sanitation is poor. And because of the fact that parents have to begin to hustle just to provide what to eat, the basic, we find our children growing up in deprivation of attention and affection and presence of the parents, and then deprivation of for instance, their basic needs at that stage of life. So a child, is brought up, doesn't have affection, doesn't have attention, does not have toys to play with, doesn't have sufficient food, quality food. The housing is dilapidated, nothing to write home about. There's no comfort, in the housing infrastructure. So when people grow up in these conditions and they get into adulthood and they have access to public office and public funds, they begin to engage in behavior, extreme behavior, to compensate for the childhood deprivation, what they did not have in childhood. So you have people like that come into office like senators, house of rep members, governors, or commissioners, whatever political offices. They begin to now amass resources. So because they didn't have sufficient toy cars, a person can, use public funds to buy like 5, 6, 7, 8 cars and park them, in the compound as a big man, political office holder, to compensate. Is a psychological thing, to compensate for the toy cars that they did not have in childhood. They begin to build several houses, mansions that they will not occupy, and neither will they rent out for people to occupy, to compensate for maybe toy houses that they did not have in childhood. This is a scenario that we find in a lot of our developing societies, third world nations, African countries. And so we have to begin to educate ourselves to understand that this is the reason why we are not having change in our governance system, in our political structure. We elect people, they go into places of authority, and then they they go into places of authority and they are not able to, begin to perform at their optimum required capacity to dispense good governance to the people. If we are aware of this, we can begin to address, our leaders should begin to address this issue of lack in society, deprivation in society. Children must be exposed to good quality education, good food, nutritional food at that level of life, the early childhood. Affection by the parents should be given to them, attention to be given to them. We should have community play centers where children of the poor can have decent environment to, congregate and play with each other and learn and exchange, knowledge and good character quality traits that our society generally requires. And that's just what I have to say, say this cool morning. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of the week.